the demon seed, where the computer impregnated the lady, which is really the laboratory impregnating the lady with a clone baby. When you see all of the designs that the computer is showing the lady, that's called a kaleidoscope, which is showing you the different patterns of DNA being downloaded in her mind, but it's really being uploaded into her uterus. Then she give birth to the baby, and they called it Rosemary's baby. The rebellious lady of the rose. That means she resurrected somebody she wasn't supposed to. And her baby was born the son of a jackal. And the son of the jackal was revealed to us in part 3 of the Omen, the Damien series in the 70s. That's the story of Obama coming up in his sheltered environment, being groomed to be the person that ain't from here, that passed himself off as one of the people from here. That's why Trump was complaining about his birth certificate.
About his birth certificate, yes. And then it actually verifying it now.
Yep. And then he turned around and said, it is true. I was not born in the United States. I was born in the Philippines. And I already posted that shit. That's already in posted, verified receipts, right? So then from there, Obama was coming in as one of the Bush plot. The Bush plot was the Rex 84 plot. The Rex 84 plot was the subset of the active orders of Cointelpro. In case of the time that we start waking up, they could round our ass up. So we preempted their instructions by issuing our own orders across the land behind their back in their motherfucking face, just like they did us. Using rap music, using hood movies, using crooked cop movies, all of the shit that they using vampire movies, this Twilight time, telling the story how they came as vampires, blood suckers from Europe, eating babies and drinking baby blood, and that shit came out in Twilight as vampires versus werewolves, because we used to wear the wolf pelts to war to scare the hell out the enemy.
Okay, check this out. I got a question that pertains to that wolf pelt, and there's a statue. I've seen it in the Rembrandt years ago in Amsterdam. There's a statue of a wolf feeding a baby.
That's Romulus and Remus. That's the great she-wolf that suckled the 2 orphans that was found in the wilderness, as we called the first progenitors to the pale-face race. One of them died, never had an heir. That was Remus. Romulus, in turn, named Rome after Remus, his brother, when he began to conquer. This is the story of the Etruscan Moors' rise to power by usurping the divine feminine. The wolf that they're talking about is Helen, who was the mother of Hellenistic society, and it was artistically great and intellectually great, and they wrote great poems of love. But when Rome got it, they turned all of the seduction of the man for the woman in Hellenistic society into seduction of little boys, and they called it romance.
Yes, I learned that 2 years ago. It's not called Rome, it's called the romance.
Romance is the science of the grown-ass man seducing the little boy in Roman society. That's why they want our boys to be effeminized to make their job easier.
Yes.
That's a military strategy to conquer people by feminizing
take the boys
and masculizing the female.
There's a group of boys, right? And this goes back to the Ottoman Empire. When they went places, they would capture the boys, kill the men, leave the women, but they would take those boys back to the Ottoman Empire. They would call them janissaries. They trained them, made them leaders of their military, of their great military, and sent them back out. So the story goes with Vlad the Impaler. Him and his brother, similar situation, were raised by the Ottoman. But in turn was, Bulgaria came back and killed them. But those Ottoman Empire people, they were the Moors, or would that be the Venetians?
Look, the Ottoman Empire was established by the same people that established Rome. We call them Byzantine kings because they ruled the Ottoman Empire as the Byzantines, or the Byzantine Empire. Yeah. Rising out of Turkish ancestry, they came in as migrants on the desert sands. Remember, they said Moses chased them across the desert sands into a foreign land. This is what they're talking about. Right? But it's all Masonically coded to mean something different than what they're telling you.
Yes, so, Masonic mumbo jumbo. Yes. Right.
So the Tawny Moors infiltrated the Ottoman to the east, where the Blackamoors infiltrated the Iberian Peninsula from the western part of the Iberian Peninsula in Italy and Spain.
Yep. Right. They ruled that whole area.
Right. But the
barbarians.
They ruled it by issuing different parts of the Moorish families, which were all nomadic because none of them had a homeland. How is that possible if you're from the planet? Everywhere they go, they foreigners. How is that fucking possible if you're from the planet?
Because they're the production of the island of Dr. Moreau.
Pretty much.
Like the made people.
Right.
Because no one, so
Bobby Hemming call them human artificial. He said they came in with us in the very beginning. Right? And he said the white man, he said that motherfucker wasn't even here. So what do that tell you? They look like us, but they ain't us.
They ain't us. They ain't us. Black hair, white mask.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they want to keep you from getting an education, right?
Yep.
So the only people they allow to be educated is the people that don't look like you. Right? And they teaching these people how to govern your affairs as politicians of local government, as government officials and purveyors of certain services of government. This is what they teaching them in their educational system, so that you won't be able to maintain these things unless you go through them to get it done, because they're not allowing you to learn these things, right? So this is how they systematically blocking you out of the institutions by using the pale faces in the institutions in the replacement of the organic original people, because the original people is who they at war with. And so they have to contract outside labor to come in and hold the reins of oppression by keeping you from the information, the education that allow you to develop and find out who you is and where you came from, and to see your culture playing out continuously in your face when they told you that we was all gone in their books.
That's why it's important for us to look up our heritage and our lineage. In these instances, at this time, I mean, it's the most we can do, because we can't. Basically, we got to separate ourselves from them, but we got to look for ourselves within ourselves.
Right. Now, once you understand what our ancestors used to tell us about stuff was always coded with multiple streams of information in a single sentence. Right? That's what they call an embedded message. Right? Now, some of us gonna figure it out by listening to our elders as we grow up. We gonna recognize the additional information in those little rhythmic bites of information passed in a poem, a song, or painted in a wall. We begin to see the images form a story that tell us how to move and stay 10 steps ahead of the enemy. So while he think because it was only 7 moves left and this is the last move has already been made and he's in checkmate, he's staring at the board trying to figure out what can he do to get out of checkmate when he's already checkmated. Game over.
This is just the head fake part of it.
Yeah. So now he's trying to convince all of the people that won that it's business as usual, so they won't let him fall from his lowly high position.
I got you.
And that's why if you listen to what's my man name? Billy Carson. Billy Carson said all we gotta do is stop participating in the game over. Then there's all kinds of people saying the same thing. The sister on TikTok said on September the 1st they was done working. Everybody know that the only way to kill the system is to abandon the system due to the discovery of the fraud.
So even inadvertently, if we had abandoned the system, inadvertently, there'd be situations that arise, like say a lot of people didn't take that they didn't take that thing and they lost their gig from not taking that thing. You know what I mean? Inadvertently, that they abandoned the system.
They're trying to force you out. The system is using all of those tyrannical activities to drive you out of the system.
Analytics,
they want you to be so fed up that you don't want it no more. You want something better, you want something different. So they're going to keep using all of those things to punish you with under the pretense of helping you until you realize that they was the enemy the whole fucking time. Stella Stone, you right, sweetie. If we stand up,
okay. Rod, I'm not going to take up your time tonight. I know other people want to get in here. I appreciate talking to you, man. I've watched you for a while, and I appreciate your work. You know, even the names of my family are just. For instance, we had a great grandfather named General Miller, and he put down on paper that he was Indian.
Yeah. So look, you got war chiefs and you got war generals, advisors to the chief. That's what he was. They use it as their name as opposed to their rank. He had to grow into his name. He was probably given a name at birth by a native clan that know that he got to understand what a general is, and then he got to think like a warrior. Then he's going to know what the problem is and what his role is or position on the board.
Okay. He passed that name down to 3 individuals, and just this morning I found out, you know, we migrated north, but inadvertently, the last general died where his tribe is from. You following me?
I'm with you. I know exactly what you're saying.
And I'm tying these things together, you know, as I look down into I look at my genetics and I look down my family tree. Every place I've almost touched, one of my ancestors has been.
Mm-hmm. That's because, okay, so in the Westerns, you always see a chief riding around the land on a horse. Today, that would probably be a motorcycle or a little cheap Jeep. Surveying the land is what it's called. In the course of your life, you'll find yourself in your local town. For some reason, this day will take you all around the outer perimeter of your town, and then it'll send you to the interior back to your home in a specific route. You're surveying the land as a chief. You don't know what you're doing consciously, but the land is moving you. And especially if you find a woman that loves you unconditionally like your mama, then you begin to expand your territory and make alliances across the land. You don't even know what the fuck you're doing it for. You just, you know, just being you.
Rod, you hit it on the head. Like I do what I love. And it just so happens that in that it calls for long travel. I'm talking about 8-hour plane rides.
Mm-hmm.
But I found myself in the woods in Mesquite, Texas, looking for the Jesse James cabin.
Look, all them outlaws, they was robbing Big Mama Bank to force the local banks, the family banks, to close and to side with the FDIC, what we know today as the Federal Reserve Banking Network, that was expanding the financial wave across the land to steal our shit.
Listen, man.
You are absolutely right. But a lot of the tribes they told us was extinct is walking around right now calling themselves niggas in the hood with they judgment is what reclassified us as an exonym. We didn't ask these people to classify us in any kind of way. The autonyms was the names and the terms that were used to describe who we were ourselves. The exonym is who they came over here and told us that we were. When you study the word more, you find out that the word more is an exonym that's tied to a systematic war effort to usurp organic people and replace them with a nomadic tribe and give them our homeland. Y'all gotta be some goddamn fools. We don't believe in selling off land because to the chiefs, that sound like you asking them for you to sell them your mama. And so we get offended when people were saying that we sold the land and that's how the invaders got it. No, we lost in warfare. We adapted, adjusted, and changed the method by which we fought the war, and we went into a conjure war. In the course of the conjure war, now it's time to cash in on the victory of the winner of the conjure war, which would be none other than the organic tribes of the land, us as a people. If y'all keep forcing these children to participate in these people's system, they're going to make y'all pay for it in such a more miserable and frustrating way. The sad part about it is enough people not going to hear this warning, and the ones that hear it, even less people are going to adhere and start homeschooling their child because something is being plotted. They got a whole lot of babies scripted to make an exit at an early age in the group. If y'all don't figure out what's going on, they're giving you every indication that they are going to do something drastic to the children this year to make y'all take them out of their school system because their system is falling. Let's go. Because their system is falling, they don't want you to know that. So they're going to try to use misery and suffering as the tool to corral you in to your oppression. I'm just telling y'all, they planning on hurting some babies. That's the plan. Look, when the wealth return, we're gonna be tracing back to a specific big mama, and we'll be able to trace that big mama to a large piece of land that she presided over. All of us migrated off of the farms of the South into the Industrial Revolution to try to change the way we was being forced to live by being blocked out of benefiting from our sharecrop goods. It's the same as the record labels and the contracts they doing in entertainment today. the sharecropper agreements. So under the sharecropper agreements, they used that to swindle us out of the land. And when they did that to our elders, none of us was supposed to figure out how to grandfather clause all of the enemies into the time before they came, use the system that was in place by our ancestors before those people ever arrived to call for a unity in the collective tribes. We talk about well over 500 nations. And when you get this collective tribal unity put together without nobody knowing what's going on, somebody got to sound the alarm because we're about to set it off. I'm taking back my city. Fuck what you thought, right? So now I'm on here, social media, because it's time-stamped, dated, archivable information suitable for a public notice, and all I need is 1,000 people to have visually seen the public notice in order for it to activate. So once it's noticed to agent, is noticed to principal. Notice to principal is noticed to agent. And this is when we brought it all to an end. So it's 10:04. That's 10 toes down on the square, on the upright. 44 Angel Bay, flip 44 Big Tukey. That's left and right, red and blue. 1, 2 become 1 on the purple house flip. Off of a red nose, black girl magic. On the dream vision, to flip out an answer to a question, to bring the people to the understanding that you was reclassified as something you're not, in order for somebody who don't belong here to convince you that they who you supposed to be.